Hello, guys. Welcome on board. My name is Nelson White. I'm the white man in the black man's skin, the grandson of Nelson Mandela, as popularly called. And of course, I am the lead founder, Nelson White Talent Academy. Is that academy where we have created a program called the Talent Factory. Yes, of course, a program that is fully designed to discover, develop, and of course, deploy natural gifts and talent of our young ones. Because it's obvious that so many of our young ones are not finding it easy at all. So there is an urgent need for us to see how we can help them grow, and of course, see how things can begin to work out for them properly. That is one thing that is very important for young ones. Now, today let's talk about investing in human capital development as a means of job creation and poverty alleviation among the youth, and of course, by way of maximizing the potentials of the creative industry. And of course, in the process of this, I'm going to be letting you know how you can unlock your talent quotient. Yes, the ability for you to recognize your talent and put it to work. That is exactly the quotient that we are going to be looking at during the course of this program. It's quite a lengthy one, but you just need to pay attention and get them bit by bit. Okay, just to lay a background of what we are talking about. Nigeria's Africa's biggest economy is ranked 163. Yes, in the United Nations UN Human Development Index, that is the HDI, for the second consecutive year. I mean, that's a huge one. 163rd. That's really huge. And of course, the HDI published annually by the by UNDP since 1990 measures the long and healthy life, access to knowledge, and a decent standard of living of about 191 countries. So it is very key that we look at this situation to find out exactly how well we are doing as far as this is concerned. So just relax yourself a little bit, because there's a serious issue here that we are going to be talking about. It's all about your potentials. It's all about all it takes to come up. I mean, we've all got talent, but all of a sudden, some persons decided not to take time to discover exactly what kind of talent they have. Because the earlier you discover the type of talent you've got, the better for you. And that gives you an edge over every other one, every other person, so that you can begin to project that talent you've got. I can tell you of stories of people who have made millions and billions of dollars maximizing their talent. It's all about trying to discover the soft spots you have for a particular thing, and you grab it, develop on it, and stay consistent on it, churning out results upon results. That is exactly what we are talking about. So, in these few hours, I'm going to be making you understand the basics of the talents, and in the areas you should be looking at. But for the purpose of being more specific, in this first area of a focus, we're going to be looking more on the entertainment industry, that the natural gifts and talent embedded in that particular industry that needs to be harnessed. So there is a need to unlock the potentials in that industry. That is a huge industry, I must tell you. Now, there is no doubt in the fact that presently majority of Nigerian youths, especially able-bodied men and women, are unemployed, and even those who are unemployed, or even those who are employed, mostly do not have the necessary skills and capacity to sustain themselves. Should they be out of work? I've got a friend of mine some time ago who, he was working with one of these popular banks back in the days. And when there was this bank recapitalization policy that banks need to merge, he was one of those who lost his job. And he found it so hard to bounce back. You could just imagine the comforts that he was enjoying over the years, having worked in that bank for over 5 years, it was not easy for him to bounce back. That was really a very difficult moment for him. But something happened. He had to begin to go internally, do an internal search to exactly unlock some particular potentials in him. He now discovered that there's this, technical skills he has, and all of a sudden, he started developing such passion, to go into engineering or trying to fix one or two things. Before you know it, he started working in an engineering firm. There was this construction going on then at Dangote refinery, and he was lucky to be amongst one of the engineers that, piling up some certain pipes here and there. And he's a big boy today, I must tell you, because he decided to take his time to search within to find out exactly what is that internal strength I've got. And that is exactly what you need to do. If you find it so difficult for yourself that you are not making headway in what you're doing right now, I think you need to just sit down, critically speaking, and search inside to find out exactly what is going on. You need to find out exactly what is going on. And you can only find that in your innermost self. That is internal re-engineering of yourself, and get to find out exactly where does your talent lie. That is exactly where we need to be going to at this point in time. Invariably, poverty, which is born out of deficit in the technical capacity for sustainable development, is rampant in the society. Now, in order to reduce poverty, technical ability, building of the formal education, and the natural gifts and talent of our young ones is very, very key. I mean, when you focus so much on academical development and forgetting completely that these children have got some natural gifts and talent in them that they brought to the world. That is a major challenge. It is the responsibility of schools and teachers and proprietors and proprietaries to begin to look at programs that can equip these children to be talented in the way of discovering their talent, and at the same time trying to find out where they can place themselves in the real frame of things when it comes to talent development. How can a school not have a program for talent development? How can a school not have a particular time set out for the children to actually explore the natural potentials that they've got? That alone is a problem. Yeah, that alone is a problem. So we need to begin to understand. See, I've been to different schools, traveling around the different parts of the country, trying to interact with school owners and, of course, some principals to find out exactly how they can put this into practice. Because the earlier we begin to look at that perspective of making sure that teachers understand the natural gifts and talents of these children, then that is where we'll begin from. That's exactly where we begin from. So we need to put things right in this case so that things can begin to go, geometrically on the right path. So now, looking away from that, let's look at the problem statement here. The neglect of the natural gifts and talent of our children and youth by parents and teachers, and so much emphasis on academic excellence, is gradually increasing the rate of poverty in Nigeria. You need to find out that. You need to begin to look at that. There is the need for us to focus on the talent of the children. That is what we do. A Nelson White Talent Academy is a talent management firm. Talent in the creative industry, most especially. When you talk about creative industry, I'm going to give you more details about that by the time we get down there, which we're still making some level of progress. Now, the project goal is that we want to deepen human capital development among children and youth as a means of reducing poverty rates in Nigeria and strengthening investment in the creative industry. That is what we are focusing on. You see young guys come out from school. They find it hard to get jobs. And because they've not found one, they stay dormant for a number of years. That is critical. That is real critical. So we need to get seated, ask ourselves, what can we do for these children to make them understand that they need to look forward after school. Now, the problem we've always had is that we wait for these children to come out from school before we make the bold step. No, it should be inserted in the school curriculum. Yeah, it should be inserted in the school curriculum, whereby we come into the schools and try to develop these people. And that's exactly what we're doing. By the way, our first edition of the Talent Factory is holding on the 26th of July, where we're bringing in over 20 schools, where we've gone around and gathered, discovered so many talents in music, dancing, comedy, acting, and of course, modeling. So we're going to be putting them together after some level of mentoring and training. We'll put them out there for a competition where we have set aside 150,000 naira for the first prize. Second prize is 100,000 naira. Third prize is 50,000 naira, and they all get 1 year talent management program from us. That is exactly how good we can start this program, and exactly what we have been doing to make sure that things work out. Meanwhile, this is very important. We put it out there. Thanks to the sponsorship right there, Love Bites Bread, Love Bite Family Bread, for the powerful sponsorship we are getting from you. A lot of support right there. Joining in the mission of doing what? Projecting the natural gifts and talents of our people, the young ones especially. So, by the way, the design of the program is a training program on how to discover, develop, and deploy the natural gifts and talents of our children, and of course, put them on the world map. All right, that is exactly what we are doing, and we will not stop at that. We will continue that to make sure that everything is put in the right perspective. What will you say of a child who sings very well? For a child who dances very well, for a child who's so comically gifted, powerful, natural comedian. But all of a sudden, because there are no platforms for this young chap to come up there to display him or herself to the world, this child remains in darkness for a long number of years, locking within him or her the gifts of a financial freedom. That is exactly why we are coming in to fill in the gap. Because it's so annoying that in this situation, we are still finding it hard to understand that there is future in the talents of our young ones. There is a brighter future for them. And that is what gives me a lot of worries. Because I cannot imagine a child that is so talented and still hanging out in the streets. It's painful. It's painful, loitering around the streets. Because there is no platform to discover that child. That child, the talent just wastes that way. That is exactly the gap we are coming in to fill. At Nelson White Talent Academy, you are going to be hearing and getting more of us because we are ready. We are fully ready. My team and I are fully ready to get this job done. It's a project of a lifetime. I mean, you cannot give what you don't have. Thanks to God, I am also multi-talented. So I'm not giving what I don't have. A songwriter, singer, dancer, an OAP, a TV host, a movie producer. So lots of talent around there. But let us go back to the real discussion here. The history of the world entertainment. I want to take you through a journey from when this business was called entertainment industry to when it moved to showbiz and moving to the creative industry. There is a progression on that. Back in the days, a lot of artists come on board to entertain the audience. Then we have the likes of Daddy Shoki, the likes of Daddy Fresh, Baba Fryo, Africa and China. These guys were so powerful, wonderful guys, you know, all back in the days in Ajegule. Yeah, I was born and brought up there also. Proud to be from Ajegule, the city that has produced so much talent. Made me so passionate about talents. I look at you, I'm trying to find out what are the hidden skills that you've got, and let's see how we can help you to achieve that. Now, let us take you through the genesis when it started with entertainment. These guys were busy entertaining people. Most of them did not smile to the banks, but they were so fantastic. They were so good on stage, churning out good songs, hit songs back to back, entertaining people on stage, making them happy, and most of them did not go home with a token. They only gave out entertainment without getting back anything. That was when it was still called entertainment. Yes. Yeah, that was when it was still called entertainment industry. I mean, some persons still make the mistakes of, calling entertainment industry. Now, I mean, we've moved past that. So why these guys during the time of Daddy Shoki and the rest of them, they were making money, just very few of them. I could remember at the point in time, Globacom actually signed up Daddy Shoki as a brand ambassador. I think it was the first brand ambassador. That was what elevated him financially. Traveled around the world, Germany and the rest of them, UK and the rest of them. Daddy Shoki sold out immediately. That is when brands started coming in to invest in some few talents. Entertainment. Comedians were not recognized at that point in time. No stand-up comedy. I mean, if you are an MC, you come, you crack your normal jokes, and you go, and nothing happens. You paid your normal peanuts, and you go home. You go hungry. I mean, that was in the era of entertainment. In the era of entertainment was when people like Flavor was performing in the bar, just entertaining people and getting peanuts somewhere around Enugu. Those were the seasons of entertainment. Those were the seasons of entertainment. So let's move over to show business. When we now moved to show business, what the later part of Daddy Shoki's lifestyle with some other guys, we now saw, let's not forget, the era of entertainment was also back in the days when we saw people like Junior and Pretty. Yeah, Junior and Pretty coming out with some powerful songs. So people like Danfo Driver, coming out with some powerful songs. Those were the days of entertainment. But let's take you to the show business. The days of show business. The days of show business is quite different because now you entertain people, you give them the show, and there is a business attached to it. The revenue comes in. You give them the show and the revenue comes in. That is the era of show business. We have Rugged Man, we have Plantation Boys, Two-Face and the rest of them. The industry started getting glittering and all that. You have Olu Maintain. Yes, these are very remarkable names in the industry that we cannot forget in a hurry. The days of show business. Everybody now want to be on stage to perform. Brands now started coming in with lots of funds. You have the likes of Timaya. You've got the likes of P Square. And of course, things started getting better. P Square was paid off by Tijo Records, live at then at Alaba International Market. Timaya came in with an album into the Alaba International Market, sold it for a paltry sum of around 500,000 naira. In less than 2 months, he came in with a very powerful album that gave him almost 18 million naira. I think by T. Joe also, and even the Two Face also sold out his Hypertech album. I mean, guys started understanding the real deal. 30 million, 32 million, guys were cashing out. And the likes of Dibanj and Mohit came on board, and they added some flesh to the business, and things started working out fine. That is the journey I'm telling you about. It started somewhere. Now, look at these names I've mentioned. These are remarkable names in the music industry. If you move into the comedy industry, Ali Baba has taken the bull by the horn. There comes Basket Mouth, OK Bakassi, Julius Agu. These guys were hosting multi-millionaire shows, and brands were paying in. Before we started having the AY Live, and the rest of them started coming in, Shay Law and the rest of them. These are powerful brands coming on board, and things started getting better. That is the show business. Yeah. That is the era of show business. So when you have a progression like this, it means there is hope. Remember, I've told you about the days of entertainment, the days of show business. These days are over. I hereby invite you to the real deal, the days of the creative industry. Yeah, the days of the creative industry. I mean, in all these days I've mentioned, I forgot to also mention, the movie industry, where CDs were being sold. Alaba International Market right there. So these days are over. So we are coming down to another issue, which is the creative industry. Now, the creative industry is what we have today. You and I are enjoying it. Now, why that creativity attached to it? Because there is a wide range of value chain around it. Because not just the people in front of the camera making the money, most guys behind the cameras are also making the money. Starting from the cameraman to the graphic designer to the digital marketer involved in that project. Everybody, the man who's in charge of branding is making his money. That is why it is called creative industry. The man who decides to, come up with a fashion, the right design of wares to be put on in front of the camera is also making his money. The person who's in charge of the makeup and the hairdo in that production is making a lot of money. Because the wide range of the value chain brought about all the necessary inputs that is required, and a lot of money is being made right there. So that is exactly what we are talking about, the era of the creative industry. So we also need to understand that the act of providing excitement and solutions through creative thinking, personal skills and talents with the potential to create wealth and jobs. I mean, this is $100 billion worth of industry. Yeah. So because there is a process of creating wealth, there's a process of creating jobs, there's a process of a sustainable career. That is why it is called the creative industry. It is now an industry on its own. You get it now? So that is the reason why we need to understand the importance of talent. Because in all of these I've mentioned, the major players of this industry are the talented ones. Those who have discovered their talents, those who are willing to project their talent, those who want to stay consistent, churning out deals. Today we have skit makers everywhere. Because this is a strong era of the creative industry, one can stay in his or her apartment and come up with a 2 or 3 minutes video, and boom, it goes viral. That is exactly what we are talking about, the era of creative industry. So, what is the projection for you? Are you sitting there looking at me, watching this video, and you're beginning to think of what can you do? Are you ready to unlock the potentials you've got right there? Unlocking your creative potentials. Unlocking your creative potentials. Now, before we go forward, more and more, I need to make a proper introduction. Before we go further, let us find out who is Nelson White, the man talking to you today, and if he is qualified to be your talent coach. Am I really qualified to be your talent coach? Okay, let's find out. Now, just a brief profile of Nelson White. Born and brought up in Ajegunle in Lagos State, the city that has produced the great pioneers of creative industry, which was then entertainment industry. So, we should stop talking about entertainment industry. Let's start talking about creative industry. That is where the future lies. Something new might still come up in the nearest future, but for now, it is the creative industry. Yeah. Now, I'm a songwriter, a singer with 3 albums. I also an actor, has produced a movie, an author, a public speaker, and a broadcaster. With over 20 years experience in the creative business, is ready to help you and guide you through the right steps of this business in order not to make regrettable mistakes. So many of you have made mistakes during the course of your career, during the course of your creative journey. One of the mistakes you made was coming up that you want to do music, and all of a sudden, without proper training, you find yourself in the studio spending millions of naira without finding out the strengths, trying to figure out the strongest part of your singing career, and all of a sudden you are out there trying to sing, making a lot of mistakes. You come out with a track, the track is whack, you find it hard to promote. Now, even when you come out with something good, you don't even know who to meet to promote your songs. That is quite difficult. So we have gone through all these processes. Yeah. It was a bitter, sweet experience. But at the end of the day, there is something positive as an outcome to that journey. And that is why we are here to speak to you, so that you don't make the same mistake or mistakes as the case may be. So we have created Talent Factory for you. It could be music, acting, comedy, dance, or within that space of the creative industry. Let's help you to turn things around. Okay? Now, back to what we are discussing before. For you to move forward in life, for you to project properly, you must have a work plan. You must have a work plan. The process of discovering your talent, developing your talent, and try to deploy it to the world to see, that is applying the 3D principles. There's a lot involved in it, but I bet you, if you are on the wrong track, it will take you long years to achieve your dream. But if you are starting with the right projection, right standing, there are chances for you to come out bigger, stronger, and better. So that is the angle we need to look at. And that's why we're here for you. To make sure we hold you by the hands and take you step by step in making the right choices of your career in the creative industry. Don't make the mistake. Now, the beauty of the creative industry is that not only those in front of the camera are actually the ones cashing out. No. Those behind the cameras are cashing out big time. As a talent manager, there's a whole lot you stand to gain. Take, for instance, I can't remember the name now. Davido's manager, one of his managers, yeah, he said he has over 100 people under his own personal company that he pays salary to. He makes millions of naira every year by just managing Davido. And there are thousands of people like that. If you look at your musical career and probably you find it hard to climb faster, but you have the sense of management, just like what Don Jazzy is doing with Rema, what Olamide is doing with Ashake. These are the guys out there. There's somebody somewhere talking to somebody. There's somebody paving way for you. There is somebody projecting you. There is somebody talking about you. There's somebody who believes in your career and going forward. These guys I've mentioned, for every move, every show they go to, count over 10 people that will go with them, all paid. Is it the drummer or the guitarist or the cameraman or the personal manager or personal assistant? They are all fully employed, and for every move they make, payment must have gone into the account for that move to take place. That is what I want you to believe in. That is the right structure we are talking about. Because of the fact that things are not becoming glaring to you, does not mean that you should, forget about the whole process. There is a process for everything. All right, now, you must get a work plan. That is one thing for sure. What is your work plan? Now, that discovery stage is part of your work plan. The discovery stage. How can you discover yourself? What passion do you have for a particular thing? Do you really, really, really love what you are doing? Have you discovered the strongest